Morning. My name is Reverend Kylie Renner, and on behalf of the entire One Spiritual Center community, I want to welcome you here today. Thank you for bringing your love and your presence into this space today. Is it warm enough for you? Almost. Yes. Well, what a joy to be together this morning. I want to tell you a story about yesterday. So, as I shared last week, I'm excited to be able to spend time with young kids again after a whole year of not being able to borrow my friends' kids and take them back. And so yesterday I had the opportunity to spend some time with a young person, but in a really different context. So the family that I told you about a few weeks ago that lost their son in the car wreck had a memorial service for him personally in their yard yesterday. And the youngest member of the family is 5, and he's processing what it means that Uncle Graham is no longer here. And it was just so sweet and so precious to be in the presence of that kind of exploration that says, what does this mean? You know, what does it mean that someone's body is gone, but their presence and their souls are still here? And so he requested to send balloons to Uncle Graham in heaven. So you have to understand that Uncle Graham was also a priest. So the family has that relationship as well. And so he decided he wanted to send balloons to Uncle Graham in heaven because it was going to make the angels happy. And so we got to send a blessing from that heart space of a child into this room or this space of a bunch of adults trying to also wrap their heads around great loss. And I have to tell you, there's something about letting that kind of childlike awareness just fill us up. So he wouldn't let go of the microphone, which was great, because he told us all about the rainbow balloons and how happy they were going to make the angels. And there's just this sense in me that today of connecting to that part of us that just is able to see with those eyes and feel with that heart and not need to understand or move into any sort of futurized sense. Just right here, right now, I'm sending blessings to the angels. And knowing that we're surrounded by that energy right now, I'm just grateful that you are here. And I'm thankful for the lessons from Q yesterday, because he taught me a lot. And so here we are, and sending blessings continuously to the Golden family during this time. And we're just going to breathe together and pray into this space this morning. So as we allow ourselves to bring ourselves present here and now, we just allow ourselves to be present to the song of the birds and the heat on our skin. And what it feels like to be here today with everything that's going on in and around us and through us. I just recognize the power and the presence of the One moving us and making us available to whatever it is that we need to receive today. Because I recognize that it is the divine's greatest desire to give itself to itself. And so I just open to the gift that is available right here. That which Spirit is seeking to give itself with. And so all of that love and the peace and the wisdom of the infinite are available right here and right now. And whatever we need to see and feel and hear and know, I just know happens from that place of deepest wisdom. I know right where we are is the power and the presence. And I let go into that. And I let it be. And so it is.
If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out a warning, I'd hammer out the love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. If I had a bell, I'd ring it in the morning, ring it in the evening, all over this land. It's the bell of danger, it's the ring out a warning. I'd ring out the love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. If I had a song, I'd sing it in the morning, sing it in the evening, all over this land. I'd sing out danger, I'd sing out a warning, I'd sing out the love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Well, I've got a hammer and I've got a bell, and I've got a song to sing all over this land. It's the hammer of justice, it's the bell of freedom, it's the song about love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. It's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land.
To prepare for our meditation this morning, I've chosen a poem by Mary Oliver entitled The Summer Day. Who made this world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean. The one who has flung herself out on the grass, the one who's eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention. To fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I've been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me. Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? And so we just take that energy of that question. What is it that we wish to do with our one wild and precious life? And we're going to allow the meditation to move us today.
That was called Cry This Earth, John Bartlett. Here's a tune by Kev Moe. Well, you might be saved, you might be reborn, you might own a car with the big loud horn. Maybe it's just news on your television, or it might be God trying to get your attention. Are you an engineer working on a farm? Or a Casanova with a whole lot of charm? It might be a mouse living in your kitchen. It might be God trying to get your attention. And it might sound bad, or it might sound good. It might be made of steel, it might be made of wood. Maybe it's just news on your television. It might be God trying to get your attention. Well, it might be in the church house, or it might be on the street. Some way or another, every soul has got to meet. It might be in the city, it might be in the town. One way or another, you're gonna find your higher ground. Well, you might be deaf, or you might be blind. Should put this message right in your mind. It might look like a plan or a coalition, or it might be God trying to get your attention. Well, it might be in a church house, it might be on the street. Somehow or another, every soul has got to meet. It might be in the city, it might be in the town. One way or another, you're gonna find your highest ground. Well, you might be deaf, and you might be numb. You'll get the answer when the answer comes. Might be the news on your television, or it might be God trying to get your attention. Well, it might be God trying to get your attention. Listen to the birds, listen to the trees, listen to the river, well, listen to the sea. Listen to the mountains, listen to the land, listen to the woman, and you listen to the man. Well, listen to the rain, listen to the wind, listen to your mind, then listen all over again. It might be God trying to get your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Sid, for paying attention, because he saw what I was going to talk about today last night when I sent out the email, and he's like, I know what song I can sing. So today's all about paying attention, what we're paying attention to, why we're paying attention, and how we're paying attention. And I keep thinking about this for various reasons, but one of the greatest instructions for life I've found comes from Mary Oliver, who I just shared a poem by, and her instructions for living a life are this: pay attention, be astonished, tell about it. And I think it's so interesting when I start to actually pay attention to what I'm paying attention to, because it's such a sensitive thing. And when I am pissy, yes, I get pissy. I think we all do. But when I get pissy, it gets really interesting what I'm paying attention to, because it doesn't matter how beautiful something is, or how nice or wonderful or graceful an experience is. If I am pissy, I am pissy. And that's all I'm paying attention to. And so there's this way in which it's really powerful to start to pay attention, not just to attention, but like, how is it that we're giving something our attention? So years ago, I had a friend who gave me this really beautiful photograph of a water lily. They had captured something that I had never seen in a photo of a water lily before. And so I asked them, how did they capture this? Because I was curious about their process. And he took a moment and smiled at me and said, well, I have learned to be very patient and very attentive. And it was only after a few hours of compliments that the lily was willing to let me take her picture. And that always has stuck with me, that willingness to give something that kind of attention, to draw out of it the beauty that is there. Especially if in the initial experience of it, we can't experience that beauty, maybe because we're pissy, maybe because we have a history with some experience where we don't feel like there's beauty there. That idea that we can give something the space, be attentive enough to allow whatever beauty is in it to rise to the surface. And I think that this is particularly important as we start to look at what we're paying attention to, because it feels like oftentimes we're not paying attention to the right thing. And I'll say that from my own place. I am not paying attention to what I'm supposed to be paying attention to. I'm paying attention to some drama I created in my head about something that doesn't probably even exist. And I have wrapped myself up in a story about what's going to happen next and all of the things I'm going to be fearful of and all of the ramifications. And I've gotten so far away from what's real and what's important that I cannot even see it when it's right in front of my face. And I'm just going to admit that that is something that happens, maybe more often than I would like it to. And so paying attention to that, though, allows me to create a space where it says, am I wrapped up in some story that isn't true, or isn't at least what needs my attention in this moment? And am I willing to bring my attention back to what's real and important? Am I willing to allow for something else to happen? Am I willing to let that go? And so I've been having to do this a lot. So some of you guys know that I'm back in school taking courses I'm only taking them for my personal enrichment. I have no other reason to take them. And it's really interesting to watch what my professors are paying attention to. Because honestly, it's not whether I'm learning or not. It's whether I put that space in the right place in the name, even though that's not what the instructions said to do. I actually got 25% on a project this week because I put a space where I was supposed to put a space, and the professor thought I wasn't supposed to. And I'm only sharing this because I cannot tell you how pissy I got about that. right? And I'm like, I'm going to tell him. No, no, no. And I'm like, you know what? That's not why I'm taking this course. Did I learn what I needed to learn? Abso-freaking-lutely. That's where my attention needs to be. And I'm blessed that I'm in a place where I can let my attention be there, right? I'm not relying on some grade to get me some other place or whatever. Like, this is all just about where I want to be. But that also has been really helpful for me to use that lens to start looking at all of the other places in my life where I get pissy. And I think that someone else has control or has set some direction that isn't right or whatever it is. You know, my brain can do all kinds of fun stuff like everyone's. And I then get all focused on that instead of what I'm actually trying to do and accomplish. And I let that take over when that's not really what's important. And I think that this is one of those great places for me to be, because what it's doing is giving me this space to be like, well, yes, that wasn't right, but that's also not where my focus needs to be. That's not where my energy and my attention need to be. In fact, giving my attention and my energy to that is going to just frustrate me more. It's going to make me step out of who I want to be in the world. It's going to make me unable to be the presence that I need to be and I'm being called to be just in my life. And so there's this way in which I believe that being able to catch where our attention is going and how it is going and the power we've given things really can bring us back into focus about what is real and important in the moment. And sometimes we get lost in that. And that's perfectly natural. But like that song so beautifully said, God is always trying to get our attention. So even in the midst of those things that are trying to draw us in and get us off focus from where we need to be, there's this sense where we're constantly being called back to what is real and important if we allow ourselves to be. But we have to allow ourselves to be, and we can't do that if we are wrapped up in our story. So there's a story told by a teacher about one of the Egyptian fathers who was seeking a sign of divine approval for all of his long years of monastic devotion. And he was told that his sanctity was nothing compared to that of a common grocer in the nearby town. And so he went to go study this man very carefully, and the monk found him occupied with his vegetables and amidst the noise and the hurry of the city streets, attentive to all of those who came with their needs. And so even as the night was coming on and people were getting rowdy and singing loudly in the streets, he stayed on task and was helping the latecomers with their needs. And so the father who had come to study him was exasperated, and he finally blurted out, "How can you even ever pray with all of the noise around you like this?" And the grocer looked around and feeling compassion for all of the people who had made up his ordinary life, and he answered very simply, "I tell myself they're all going to the kingdom. They're concentrating with single-minded attention on what they do, singing songs with all the joy they can muster. See how they prepare for the kingdom of God without even knowing it. How can I do less myself than to praise in silence the God they inadvertently celebrate in song?" And so that night, that monk who had been studying the grocer walked back to his cell knowing he had received something, an important lesson in the craft of attentiveness. And for me, this story is so powerful, partially because what it shows me is there's all of these places where I've decided that I know what needs attention and how it needs attention and what's going on and who's doing the right thing and who's doing the wrong thing and who should be doing it the way I think they should, whatever. And this is an invitation to another kind of attention. Another kind of attention for what it is that the space is being prepared for. What is it that's really going on beneath the surface? Is what I think going on really what's going on. So there's another story I came across this week about a gentleman who was spending many hours in airports. And he had been considering all of the airline terminals to be necessary gateways to get him to where he wanted to go, nothing more. And what was supposed to happen, he always thought, was what was going to happen on the other side of that airplane trip. And so one summer of particularly busy travel, he was visiting his family in Philadelphia, and he arrived at the airport ready to go home, and his flight was delayed. And so he bought some frozen yogurt and a book to read, and in an hour they boarded the plane, but then they waited for 3 hours, and close to midnight they still hadn't left yet. And the book wasn't good, and the cabin was hot, and he was thirsty, and he was grumbling to himself that he was not supposed to be here. He was supposed to be home already. I have appointments tomorrow and work waiting, and we know the drill, right? And so finally the flight was canceled, and after waiting an hour to rebook a flight for the next morning and getting a trip to the airport, he had about 2 hours to sleep, and he got up again, and just pissy, right? Because it wasn't how it was supposed to be. And he discovered some things about himself when he got seated next and got on that next flight. So it turned out he was sitting next to a rabbi, and the person who had been delayed, along with the rabbi who had also been delayed, began this conversation about what it means to be, and what the rabbi shared stuck with them forever. So what he said was, every place contains holy sparks. We just have to turn aside to see them for what they are. No things, not even thorn bushes, are useless unless we treat them as useless. No moments, whether we are tending sheep like Moses or traveling on an airplane, are meaningless unless we squander them. No place, whether Mount Moriah or an airport terminal, is insignificant unless we overlook it. And in our rush to get where we're going, to do what we should be doing, we miss countless moments of revelation because we do not pay attention. So we can choose to stay with the donkey, unaware of God's presence, or we can ascend the ladder with the angels and see the divine even in the ground beneath our feet. And I loved that invitation, especially because I so deeply resonate with that idea that we all have those places where we think that the wisdom or what's really supposed to happen is going to be on the other side of that, on the other side of the promotion, on the other side of some big life event, on the other side of a degree, whatever it is. We have this idea that what's really happening isn't where we are. And so we missed all of that revelation that is available, all of that peace and that power and that wisdom, because we're so focused on where we're going next, where instead of what is actually available and present in the moment. And so those instructions, right? Pay attention, be astonished, tell about it. And pay attention, I feel, until we are able to be astonished. Because if we're not yet astonished, I don't think we've paid attention close enough. Because it is a miracle. Thank you. I've been ordering things online, so here we are again. Thank you. Paying attention. Paying attention until we're astonished, because it's one grand miracle that we're here at all. And there's even just, if you look around you on the ground or even behind you, like there's millions of things that are calling for us to just be available to wow. And that's what the power of attention gives us. And so here we are then able to tell about it and to bring each other back into that space where maybe when we've got focused on the wrong thing, we've gotten so enveloped in it that we've put our energy where it doesn't need to be. And I feel like being able to talk about the astonishment of attention can create a space where not only ourselves, but everyone around us is able to then access some gratitude and some awareness that may have gotten stuck somewhere. So we've been talking a lot in this household about the Zen koan, about the empty boat. And I share about that often around here, but I want to tell you about it again in this context. So the empty boat is the idea is it's really foggy. And you're out on a lake in a boat and you're rowing and all of a sudden another boat hits you. And you are angry. How could that guy in that other boat hit me? Look at what it did. It almost tipped me over. How dare they? And then the fog disperses a little bit and you realize there's no one else there. The other boat is empty. And then all of a sudden it's really foolish that you got pissed off at nobody. You got pissed off at the absence of intention. You made up some story that person on that boat is just so inconsiderate and so whatever that they didn't pay attention when really there was nothing there. And for me, from the perspective of making sure my attention is on the right thing, is that this koan is an invitation back into the empty boat, right? That I don't need to be putting my attention out there on thinking that there's motivation where there isn't, and there's a story and there's something working against me when really there isn't. And I can bring all of that energy back into paying attention to right where I am, to where I'm coming from, to that energy that is moving inside of me. And so I think that there is deep wisdom to this. So I have one last thing to share, which is a story that comes out of the Northwest Native American tradition. And the teaching story goes that what the elder is telling a young boy or girl what to do when they're lost in the forest. And the answer to this was turned into a poem by an amazing poet named David Wagner, and I'd love to share with you that response. So what do you do when I'm lost in the forest? Which for me is, what do I do when I got focused on the wrong thing? When I can't see what's real and important? What do I do? So here it is. Lost. Stand still. The trees ahead and the bushes beside you are not lost. Wherever you are is called here. And you must treat it as a powerful stranger. Must ask permission to know it and be known. The forest breathes, listen. It answers. I have made this place around you. If you leave it, you may come back again, staying here. No two trees are the same to raven. No two branches are the same to wren. If what a tree or a bush does is lost on you, you art surely lost. Stand still. The forest knows where you are. You must let it find you. So this is the invitation back into that place of attention inside of us. We have to let it find us. And it's always there. And so I'm going to ask the band to come on up because we're going to sing into our prayer today. And as we prepare the way for that, I'm going to ask you to maybe think about something that has got your attention and maybe got your attention in a way that isn't helpful. Maybe you've given your attention to something in a way that is empowering new possibilities and isn't creating more peace and more love. Maybe it's actually causing you to not be able to see what's real and important. And we're going to see if letting ourselves be found by our attention can help shift that. So please join me as we sing into our prayer.
Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, and sets us free. Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, sets us free. Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, sets us free.
So our prayer of love today is a prayer of attention. So we allow ourselves to put our attention back onto what is real and important. As we pull our fear and our doubt and our worry from all of the places that we have it hidden in our lives, and we allow ourselves to be present to the love and the peace and the wisdom and the astonishment available right here and now. And I just recognize the power and the presence of the One just leading us deeper into that attention as we gently allow ourselves to let go of the things we've been clinging to so that we may receive the revelation and the grace and the beauty that is available in every moment. Recognizing that there is no way to be lost, we allow ourselves to deeply find our attention and to put our focus on exactly what needs our focus so that we may heal and transform and reveal every single thing that is awaiting us. And so I just lean deeply into the invitation to pay attention, be astonished, and then tell about it. As an invitation from that which is most powerful within us to be revealed in a deeper way than ever before. And so I just let that attention guide. And I let everything else fall away. And I let it be. And so it is.
Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, and sets us free. Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, and sets us free. Here's a tune by Stevie Wonder. Johnny's going to count this off.
Thank you, guys. Don't worry about a thing. So thank you so much for being here today. We have baskets hanging in the trees if you'd like to make a contribution to this community. We also have a place on our website, onespiritualcenter.org, where you can do so. Also want to remind you that this month we will be back at Roadrunner Food Bank volunteering together. So not this coming Saturday, but the Saturday after, which is the fourth Saturday. We will be there volunteering from 10 to noon, and you're welcome to join us if you'd like to. We're excited to be back at that. It's such a great way to be together in community, but also be giving back to this bigger thing we're doing here. So, and I have very, very, very exciting stuff happening around here, at least for us. So I have to share with you that we, Zephyr and I, decided to take advantage of the $500 round trip tickets that were happening earlier this week to Europe. So we, in August, Zephyr and I are going to Barcelona for 3 weeks. I have never been to Europe, so this is like super, super thrilling. But what it means is we are going to take a summer holiday from One Spiritual Center. So we won't be having services August 15th or the 8th. So 8th or 15th, no services. And I will miss you deeply, but I have not had a Sunday off in 3.5 years, and I am ready. And it'll be good for everyone. Yay. See, you support me, right? You support me in this. You support me in this. Yes, it'll be good for everyone. So I am super thrilled. If you've been to Spain and want to give us some advice, we'd be excited to hear it. I'm going to get to visit and meet Zephyr's family that he lived with there. So I'm excited about that as well. So we will be keeping you updated on our adventures. But yes, so no service on the 8th or the 15th of August. And you can watch reruns online if you like. You can tell me what your favorite one is, and I can put it up there. It's easier to find. So anyway, thanks for the support around that. I'm super excited. And I think we're ready to sing. So let's sing.
One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's give thanks to the Lord and we can feel alright. People get ready, there's a train a-coming. Don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is speed, hear that diesel hum. Don't need no tickets, just thank the Lord. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's give thanks to the Lord and we can feel alright. People get ready for that train to Jordan, picking up passengers from coast to coast. Faith is the key, open the doors and board 'em. There's room for all that love and one love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's give thanks to the Lord and we can feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright.
We have one last blessing to sing to one another.
Go forth and walk in beauty and know that we are one. One, two, three, go.